Hey builders, welcome back. So we got impatient and we chopped it.
Okay, so last episode we left off with working out the seating placement. We left off working out the fuel tank and how we're going to get fuel to these carbies. I think we've actually come up with a pretty nifty little solution. And I guess one of the great things about YouTube is people send us all kinds of cool stuff. So have a look at this little detail here. You can see that this person has put this little Lego kit together suggesting how we do it, and I love it. However, I think it's going to get in way of the steering, so we've actually come up with another solution. Check this out. So as you come around here, this is empty. I wonder what this could be used for. At about 1.3 meters, it gives us roughly 9 liters of capacity. So we think we might just use the frame as the fuel tank. No, this is not a sponsored ad. This is the hum that you hear in the background. All Aussie carports have them. It's a solar inverter. As you can see, we're churning out today on a reasonably clear day, nearly 4.7 kilowatts worth of power. But you can hear that hum. It's pretty intense. I apologize for the background noise. It's either the welder or it's that. I just thought I'd let you know. So this is our little kit that we weld with here. Nothing fancy. This is just a gasless MIG. It's about 190, I think, or a 100, M100. We use 0.9mm wire. You can use 0.8 as well. I just like my welds a bit hotter. Yeah, like I said, no fancy equipment, just your basic sort of homegrown tools. So we're going to put this to work and get this welded. Okay, so you may have noticed when I was cutting that end there, right at the end, I didn't cut all the way through. It's probably a bit hard to see in that, but see that little tab just there? It's really important when you're cutting RHS or anything that's underweight is to not cut all the way through, because as the metal falls, it'll grab the blade and the blade will kick back. Now I've actually got a really decent scar on my thumb from where that happened. So I stopped a little bit in between there, and then I just gave it a good tap, and it was quite thin, enough to hold it, good bash, and it just kind of broke away. Much safer than cutting all the way through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to measure the center lines and weld our axle to the front. Now this is 50 by 25, which isn't a very big section, but it's a solid 3mm thick. So I think this will be alright, and especially if we put some bracing in here. And by the time it's actually cut down to suit the axles and the spindles, I think it'll be alright. But if you remember, we're talking about having a little bit of caster built in. So I don't know whether really to weld the axle down here up to this on an angle, or just to weld these on an angle. But we also had a thought about using this for the fuel tank, is that fuel's basically just going to slosh around in here. So we actually need a bottom point. So we're thinking, stick with me here, we're thinking if we section the chassis about here and fold it up slightly, it'll give us a grade down and up a little bit. So we have absolutely no idea how square this cut is. This cut in this RHS could literally be 1 millimeter out, which means it could be 3 millimeters rear there and 3 millimeters forward here. So what we've got to do, rather than set this square, you've kind of got to give it about 1 millimeter, maybe 1.5 millimeters, which I have no idea what that is in inches. I'm really sorry. But then we tack weld in the middle here on this spot here, and that allows us just to bend this ever so slightly to get square. And then we know where it is. We'll just have to be really careful that we don't burn through that as we weld it up. Alright, so we're welded up. So now we really have to think about the track and about how we work here. So obviously the track is from the center line of the tire, not to the outside edge. So the good thing is about having them line up on the outside here, like that, is that the track on the front will be wider than the track at the rear, which is fantastic for straight line stability. But obviously now we've got to start working from this side inwards, because we have to set, as you can see, we've got the brake disc on the inside here, so we're going to need a bit of stub axle, we're going to need the spring and kingpin assembly, and then we've got to weld it here. So now I've got to start working from this side in to set where our kingpin carriers are going to be. So we have measured outside of rim to outside of rim for the rear, and we've got 910 millimeters, which is the length of the entire front axle is 910. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work backwards, like I said, and we're going to measure the tyre itself. Sorry, I mean the hub at 90 millimeters. Okay, so 90 millimeters off one side. We also need to leave a little bit of room for this brake caliper, because obviously that's going to be swinging on the inside as well. So if we take all of that into account now, we got there about 130, we'll call it 140 millimeters just to be safe. So we know that when this is sitting here, we need from the edge of that to the outside of the rim to be 140 millimeters. All right, so let's get cracking. I was taking 140 and then I added 10 mil. I've reconsidered and I've dialed it back 10 mil again. It just looked like it was too long for the section of axle that we're running for the front. So yeah. Somebody decided to warp during welding. So what I'm going to have to do is clamp this up, apply some heat to this corner here and hope it cools down nice and square. I forgot, didn't I? Because we're using this as the tank, I said we'd have to cut it to get it to drain down. That's going to solve a few things actually. So one, that will likely take these are obviously the kingpin carriers. That will, if this is cranked up, that's going to crank back, which means that'll give us the caster that we need at the front, which is a good thing. Which means I can just literally weld these on square there and that'll be quite strong. So the idea I had was basically I need to cut a bit further back here. That way my seat can bolt there, my low point is here, and then I'll have enough room, I think, to run some sort of I don't know, reservoir here to feed the carby, so I can pump from this low point around on this side in full knowledge that the exhaust is going to be on this side. That'll also give me a bit more of an angle here to mount the seat to, which gives me more clearance for the chain underneath, and then I will be able to easily run the steering and the seat, get our legs either side. Yeah, I think this could actually work out for the best. So yeah, that'll be next episode, I think. I'm still waiting for this front axle to cool. So yeah, Hayo's still in bed. So I've done all of this while teenagers sleep. So next episode, we're really going to get to work on the front, and we'll hopefully have a roller by the end of it.